habit of lurking on Reddit has been exposed and everyone seemed to enjoy it, I figured it was high time that I review more Reddit stories, this time about family drama. And once again, because I don't know what to do with myself while reading and reacting to these stories, I figured I would just do my makeup again. So with that all being said, let's just get to the stories. Am I the asshole for screaming at my parents for trying to use my college funds to pay off my brother's debt? I, 15 female, screamed at my parents for trying to pay off the loan my brother, 19 male, had taken from the bank to purchase a new car that he can't pay back. I know they're just trying to help my brother get on his feet now that he's left home, but it's been my dream since I was very little to be a pilot, and the training for it is very costly. So every little piece of money I've made, I've been putting into a bank account to save. I've even started working 2 jobs of babysitting and helping out in a local cafe. 2 weeks ago, my brother bought himself a brand new car with a loan that he got from the bank, and now he's telling my parents he can't pay it back. He doesn't have a job, and my parents pay for his college accommodation. When I heard this, I didn't think much about it and offered to bring his CV into a couple places in town and see if he could get a job. Last night, my parents told me that they were going to take money from my account to pay for his loan, and I was furious with them. I screamed and called them assholes and said they didn't care about me at all because they never supported my dreams. I'm the only girl in my family with a younger and older brother. I haven't spoken to my parents since then. I feel like all my hard work has gone down the drain and I will never get to accomplish my dream. My relationship with my brother was good before this, and I know that his bad financial decisions were not intended to harm me, but I'm still angry with him and my parents for behaving like this. That's just really sad. You know, she's the only girl in the family, and it really feels like the parents are treating her like the classic middle child by taking her money to pay something that her brother could easily gone through methods to pay back himself. He doesn't have a job, then why are you taking out a loan to get a car? Why are they punishing, essentially, her for her brother's decision? The brother could have easily gotten a job to be able to pay off the loan himself. The parents could have easily decided to take from their own savings or whatever in order to pay it back for him. I would put more blame on the brother, absolutely, but it's the parents that are trying to use her funds. I don't know how much the brother knows about this, so I don't want to put too much blame on him, and I know there are a few updates here, so let's just get to the updates. Update. I was able to get in contact with my brother, and he had no idea that my parents planned to use my income for his debt, and he immediately agreed to refuse to let them go through with this. He also told me that yes, our parents co-signed the loan, and they said they were able to pay it if he needed. I also visited my uncle today at his bank and sat with him for a long time to discuss my options. He has said that he has checked our parents' finances and that they are more than capable of paying the loan without using my income. He said that unfortunately there's nothing I can do till I'm 18 about the joint account. Right now I feel betrayed by my parents, so I'm staying at my friend's house for a while. My entire family now knows about this. So the brother didn't even know. So this was clearly just the parents' plan to do, which is insane. And the fact that they were able to just pay it off themselves, why are you going about taking somebody else's money to be able to pay this off? Because they themselves didn't want to? That's your kid. That is your responsibility. If you want that loan to be paid off, then you can go through your own means to do so. Instead of taking from a different child because they didn't deserve the money as much, that this kid deserved a car more than your other kid deserved a tuition. There is a second update, so I'm gonna just play that quick. Update. It's been a while since I gave you an update, but I'm doing much better now that I've moved out of my parents' house and in with my godfather, who is in the process of becoming my legal guardian. I've spoken to my parents and they tried to guilt trip me into coming home, but since then I've had no contact with them. My brother has also cut ties with them. My younger brother, 12, calls me every week. I'm still working very hard, but I'm no longer under constant stress. Thank you all for the encouragement and support I've received from this post, and I hope you all have a fabulous day. I'm at least glad that everything worked out. She's finally getting under different guardianship. Obviously, those parents were bad enough parents if she's now not under their care anymore, and the fact that she's cut ties with them says a lot, as well as the brother. This cannot be the first incident of her parents pulling something like this. Okay. Some comments. Absolutely fucking not the asshole. What the actual fuck is wrong with your parents? You worked for and saved that on your own? I'm so sorry and ashamed on your parents' behalf. You are more mature than your brother and parents combined. Start hiding the money you make where they can't find it. You will go far, OP. This is a setback, but with your determination, you will rise above all these assholes in life. My heart goes out to you, not the asshole. That's pretty much how I feel too. First things first, if the car is only 2 weeks out, it can probably be returned. Second, is the bank account joint with your parents? How do they have access? I also question how your brother with no job get a car loan from a bank. I was wondering that too. All right, next story. Am I the asshole for not getting a tattoo removal procedure to remove my child's dead name from my body? Hi everyone, I'm 36 female. I have 2 daughters, one of which came out as trans a year ago. Let's call them Maria, 17, and Anna, 15, my trans child. I would like to start by saying that when Anna came out, I had no problem so long as her transition didn't come in the way of school or grades. The problem, however, is I have Anna's dead name tattooed on my body, and I have had the tattoo since she was a toddler. It's pretty visible as it's on my neck, and every time Anna sees it, she gets visibly upset. She told me she's looked into tattoo removal surgery and recommended that I get it removed or covered with her new name. While I do have the money for it, I do not think it's something I want to deal with. After all, it's just a tattoo, and I don't think I should have to get it removed to show my love and dedication for this new identity. Anna, however, has accused me of not taking her seriously, and that if I truly loved or cared, I'd get it removed. I don't understand getting the tattoo removed or covered would show dedication, but I truly do not see it as necessary. I think she's being absolutely ridiculous pushing the issue. I'm an adult after all, and can make decisions about my own body just as she can. The issue has put a strain on a relationship, and now she barely looks at me these days. This one's a bit of a toughie for me because I can understand not wanting to be called by your dead name or really wanting having any trace of that, but at the same time, like she said, you can't control what somebody does with their body. Yes, she could change it, she has the money to, but you're going to have to encounter it, and so it might be triggering because you don't want to be reminded of that. And I get that, like, that tattoo is supposed to be her dead name, like it's supposed to be about her, but I'm also like, to be that upset over it that you need it to be changed in order to somehow validate your new identity, or I guess show that your mom is validating your new identity, like that's just not necessary. Reading some comments. Listen, not gonna comment on if you're an asshole or not. Is this really the hill you want to die on? That being said, do not tattoo their new name on your neck. That's stupid. They are 15 and can almost guarantee they'll change their name multiple times before settling on a new one. Yeah. If you're gonna cover it up with something else entirely. Their birth month flower, perhaps. I like that because that's more of a compromise. So that way it's still reminiscent of them, and I feel like it would be a lot easier to cover it up with something like a flower instead of having to get it removed and redone. No one's the asshole because it's your body. You can do what you want with it, but you also can't stop your daughter from seeing your choice as a sign that you don't accept her deep down. This is going to affect your relationship with her, whether you like it or not. Her dead name upsets her. She can't see you without being confronted with it. I forgot about that. And you're all surprised face that she doesn't want to look at you. Bluntly, you have a choice. What do you value more, your money tattoo or your relationship with your daughter? You have a right to make that choice. You need to be able to accept the consequences. You know, that is true. Something I didn't really think about. I forgot that her daughter can't even look at her over this. That does say a lot more about how she feels about it. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I can see it in the sense of like, even when you're growing up kind of being like, mom didn't think I was worth enough to change my dead name into something different. I don't know, it's a really, really unfortunate place to be in, but I'm hoping that there was some sort of compromise and that the mom was able to get it covered up. All right, next story. Am I the asshole for teasing my 18 male friends, 19 male and 18 male, for going to the sauna naked with their mom? We all live in America and I'm fully American, but their mom is originally from Germany, so she's brought some of her culture, which includes how she's raised her kids. They're cool guys and we hang out at each other's all the time. They have a pretty cool house with their own sauna. The situation was that we were playing on their Xbox in the living room until their mom came and asked them if they wanted to join her in the sauna. They were pretty embarrassed and started saying, "No mom, not now, we're playing," etc. I had a hard time holding in my laugh and bursted into laughter when their mom went away and started teasing them over it, saying it's pretty weird that they sit in a sauna naked with their mom as adult males and that it's time to grow up. It was meant as a joke, but they didn't take it well and got pretty mad and said that it's normal in their culture and that I'll have to leave if I don't stop. I stopped and the rest of the evening was pretty awkward. Now it's the next day and one of them sent me a text saying that it was beyond disrespectful what I did. Yeah, it is disrespectful because guess what? Nudity in America for some reason is seen as such taboo when it's like boobs are not meant to be sexual. They're meant for like literally feeding your children. Like you don't see cow's udders as something sexual, do you? I mean, it really does come down from our puritanical start, you know, nudity, gross, weird, ugh, and then being ashamed of your body as you grow up and stuff. And I could really go into America's issue with sex and nudity. This dude sexualized the relationship of these kids with their mom. People have different cultures. Specifically in Europe, they are way more okay with being naked, especially since this is in a sauna. This is not something that's considered sexual at all, and here you are sexualizing it and calling it weird because that's not your culture, you don't understand it. And to tell them to grow up is also so fucking weird to me because I'm like, you're the one that's acting immature over this. This dude has clearly never been to the gym either, which I know it's usually like people of the same gender going into the sauna together, whatever, right? But my point is like, if you go into the sauna at the gym gym and you're a dude, you're gonna see a lot of naked dudes. Does that make it sexual? No, it's not sexual. That friendship is probably over because you made a joke, which I don't think it was a joke. I think it was only a joke after you got called out for it, to be quite honest. But you're gonna fall back on that because then it makes you look better and like you didn't really mean it. But you did. And reading some comments, you're the asshole. It does seem a little weird to the average American because we have culturally ingrained hang-ups that nudity is sexual. And honestly, I think it's weird too. I'd rather die than hang out naked with my mom in a sauna. But they don't view it the same way we do, and you were a guest in their home. Openly mocking them like that is out of line. And that's exactly how I feel. All right, next story. Son asked my husband about camel toe, and he gave a complete answer. Looking for advice and opinions on this. This morning, I overheard our 13-year-old son asking my husband what a camel toe is in swimming suit. I stifled my laughter and eavesdropped on my husband's response and had to share it. My son said he heard kids at school talking and joking about camel toe, and he didn't know what they were talking about. So my husband explained that in certain clothing, swimsuits, leggings, etc., you can sometimes see outlines of a woman's private parts. He said it's very natural, not uncommon, and never something to make fun of or dwell on or make a girl feel uncomfortable about. He said part of being a man is understanding that when you see these kinds of things, you notice and recognize them as very normal, appreciate that they are just a natural part of a woman, and move on. My son then had a lot of questions. Does this happen by accident? Answer, usually, probably, but it's just how the body works and shows in certain clothes. Do they all look the same? No, it's just a part of each woman's particular body, how that part of her body is shaped. Is it gross to look at? Not at all. Nothing gross about it. It's just a part of a woman's body. Do you ever notice and look at that? Sure, I notice in passing sometimes. That's just life, but never stare. Never make anyone uncomfortable. Never call attention to it. Is it actually nice to look at? That part of a woman's body is one of the prettiest things God created, but it's personal and private, and so never ever make anyone uncomfortable or stare or be creepy. I laughed at the whole thing at first, but ended up very proud of how my husband handled this. But is it too much for a 13-year-old to hear? Genuinely curious people's opinions. Absolutely not. When I was 13, I knew about camel toe. I knew about things way worse than camel toe. Obviously, if he heard it from other 13-year-olds, he was gonna find out about it one way or another. And I'm really not only proud of the husband, the dad, but I'm also proud of the kid for being comfortable enough with his parents that he's able to ask them these questions. The parents are clearly good enough parents where their kid is comfortable asking them these types of questions, because the way the dad handled that was absolutely perfect. It really is nice to hear it being talked about in a way that's not making fun of it, because something as small as like, oh yeah, a crease just in the wrong part of your body happens to be showing and now you're being made fun of over it. It's pretty ridiculous, and I'm just glad that he kind of talked about it to his son in a way that normalizes it, that says it's nothing to be ashamed of and it's nothing to make fun of, because that's really going to help just the treatment of people overall. When you try and baby them, when you try and dumb it down, blah, 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 and treat them like they're not people, they're either going to go into it without really fully understanding what it is, or they're probably going to have some sort of misconception about what it is just in general. It's not like he sat down and he went in detail about what camel toe is and how it's normal and blah, blah, blah. He just simply was answering his son's questions. Some comments. Your husband is a gem, and the fact that your son felt comfortable enough to initiate this dialogue with his father instead of just Googling camel toe and falling down the resulting rabbit hole speaks volumes. And that's exactly what I said too. Yep, honestly, so many kids have been introduced to porn by 13, so having a really healthy explanation will be so much better than him seeing it portrayed as a fetish. Your husband did amazingly. All right, next story. Would I be the asshole if I took my kids out of school a week early even though my wife disagrees? I, 43 male, have 2 kids, 15 female and 14 male, sophomore and freshman. This school year they've been making some really good grades, 3.7 plus, and even juggling sports and or clubs with that as well. I acknowledge that high school is difficult between academics and social lives and athletics hobbies. Over spring break, April 1st through 5th, my wife and I were planning to go on a 5 to 7 trip with our kids to Vegas because, well, we don't have anything else to do. I told my kids about it and they seemed pretty happy for a getaway and a break. On Saturday, my wife and I were looking at hotel bookings, and I brought up the idea of leaving on Good Friday, 29th of March, and come back a week later on the 5th. I also added that they could probably stay home on Thursday just to relax as well. This is the part where my wife's face made the sound of a 1997 Windows PC shutting down. She's very, you go to school unless you're sick. She's not a mental health day person. The idea of missing school Thursday and Friday, our potential bookings were about 6 a.m., was a huge no-no. She began to ask me why they needed to skip that day, with my reasoning being mostly A, kids need a break, and hand, B, these same kids have missed only one day so far, and also C, they're good kids. Why not reward them? Even after a lot of talking, she still won't budge. I've been thinking that maybe I could have them take the one day off anyways, but I'm asking here to see if I would be wrong before I do anything that could be seen as dumb. Am I the asshole? We'll provide extra needed info in comments. As somebody who would take all 10 days out of school, right up to the line of being considered truant basically, I feel like I don't really have any leg to stand on when it comes to, oh yeah, kids just deserve a break because I was one of those kids that wanted a break and would be given it by my parents. While I understand being like, they deserve a break, they deserve time off, like 6 o'clock in the morning bookings are not fun to have to wake up for, you need to be on the same page as your wife. And she said no, and that's the end of the discussion. Alright, next story. Am I the asshole for telling my son's girlfriend to break up with him? My, female 41, son, male 20, has been in a relationship with his girlfriend Lily, female 20, for about 3 years now. I love my son, and I hate to say this, but he's not turned out to be a good person. His very little work ethic, has no desire to get a job or go to college, and spends most of his time gaming or partying. Lily, on the other hand, is the polar opposite. She's very studious, has aspirations to be a doctor, is a very good swimmer, and is currently away at college. When my son and Lily first got together in high school, they were an excellent match. We loved having Lily over, and my son definitely took more care of himself. Since then, it's rapidly deteriorated. I know my son still loves Lily, but he never gives her the attention she deserves, and with her clear potential, I feel she deserves better. When Lily came to visit a few days ago, she was visibly upset. When my son went to the store, I asked her if she was okay, and she told me that she didn't know what to do and wondered why my son had such little ambition and was so lazy. I told her I didn't see it changing anytime soon, as that's my view given it's been ongoing for almost 2 years. When she asked what I would do in her situation, I told her to put herself first and what she wanted. Lily thanked me and said she'd think about things. Well, earlier today, my son comes downstairs in a rage telling me that Lily had broken up with him via text. I asked him what she had said, and apparently the message referred to discussions with your mom that had made her rethink the relationship. My son was livid that I had gotten involved and said I'd overstepped boundaries. I told him that I didn't advise Lily to leave him, just said she had to make her own choices and decide what was best for her. My son is now not talking to me, and my husband is annoyed, believing that having no Lily will make my son's rut last even longer. I also miss having Lily around. So, am I the asshole? No. 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 You're not the asshole. Your son is 20 years old. I don't know what the fuck he expects to do with his life without a job or a college degree, because unfortunately, even though college is so fucking expensive now, you kind of need a college degree to get literally anywhere in life. If you're not going to go to college, then you need to start getting apprenticeships. Blue-collar jobs can really pay some good money. You're gonna have to start making your own way in the world. That all being said and out of the way, because that really doesn't have anything to do with this person being the asshole or not. His girlfriend and his parents both notice that he has no ambition in life and is lazy, and he clearly has not been putting effort into the relationship like he did in the beginning, and she does not want to be with somebody that clearly is not the person she thought he was. If she's that good of a person, she's got a good head on her shoulders, she doesn't need to be, unfortunately, pulled back by her boyfriend. She went to his mom to ask for advice because she was having a hard time dealing with his lack of ambition in life. His mom was asked a rough question, put in a tough position, but ultimately told her good advice that has absolutely nothing to do with her son. She said, put yourself first and figure out what you want to do. To put blame on your mom instead of reflecting further as to what you maybe did to end your relationship, maybe look more inward instead of trying to blame people around you. And also, like, I'm sorry, the husband, do not be annoyed with her. Do not be annoyed with your wife. Be annoyed with your son who doesn't want to do anything in life. All right, next story. Am I the asshole for telling my wife our daughter will not be given a unique or weird hippie name? My wife, 28 female, and I, 30 male, are expecting a baby girl in March. We have not decided on a name, and it's becoming worrying that we might not reach an agreement on what to call our daughter. We have very different ideas about what the name should be. My wife likes nothing too classic and normal like the names I've suggested: Elizabeth, Emily, Natasha, Hannah, Catherine, Francesca, Matilda, Annabelle, Isabel, Vivian, Sadie, and many others. My wife has suggested some names I would consider far more modern, and she likes unique and or names I find very hippie: Sky, Indy, River, Ocean, Serafina, Atlas, Clove, Dove, Asteria, Lennox, Ember, Winter. We have thrown out hundreds if not thousands of names, and anytime I ask her why she dislikes any of the more known, common, classic names, she said she likes none of them. She either finds them boring or old leaning, and she doesn't like that. I told her it'd be better for our child to grow up with the name that sounds normal versus one made up to be unique. She told me she would never agree to a name like Elizabeth or Amelia, another name I suggested. I told her I will not agree to unique or weird hippie name for our daughter. She told me it's why we're still looking, and I told her that the names of late have been worse from her. She told me the feeling is mutual and I'm not going to force her to change her taste. She also told me my description of her names is unfair and there's nothing that unique about most of them, and I simply reject everything that's a little more modern leaning in usage. We took some time after that and have not returned to names in about 4 days. I can see she's bothered by my choice of words, but I can also see she's frustrated and feels our daughter's due date looming over us as well. Am I the asshole? What's wrong with Emily? No, I'm kidding. But seriously, I think, I don't know, hopefully there's kind of an in-between compromise that they can come to where it's unique, but it's still classic. You can maybe go back in time and see what names like used to be popular that aren't talked about anymore. Maybe even something that's like a unique name, but that has like a classic nickname. Nobody's really the asshole because it just comes down to different tastes. All right, reading some comments. First, you both need to be able to compromise. This will not be the last time. Second, try the following. You need to find a solution both can accept. I recommend you have a nice dinner and both be in a very positive mood. Then you each get the task of finding 5 names that you think the other would like and you do not hate the most yourself. Write them all down and let them grow on you. Find the compromise. Another option, try and have a talk. What do you each want? Your wife wants something unique and with a certain vibe. You want something more traditional. Go through old names there might be one you both like Elvina. But the important thing, you do it together because right now you're each in a corner saying no to everything. Get out of the corner. Everyone sucks here. And I completely agree with that. And I also really like the idea of coming up with names that you think the other person would like that you don't hate, because then it's kind of trying to get into that mindset while also being able to be okay with a name like that. All right, next story. Am I the asshole for not allowing my daughter to significantly alter my wedding dress? My 44 female daughter, 25 female, is getting married later this year to her girlfriend, 27 female. I've always dreamed of walking her down the aisle. My husband passed when she was a child, and she enjoyed talking about a future wedding and playing bride when she was a child, picking flowers and colors and venues. She loved watching the videos of my wedding and seeing me and her father get married, and it was important in our bonding. When she was 13, I promised her my wedding dress. However, her clothing style is more manly. She began refusing to wear dresses or skirts when she was in her late teens, even trying to demand her school allow her to wear trousers, and it was difficult convincing her to wear dresses to formal events. She's gone through phases of wanting short hair, wanting to be a boy, and getting tattoos. I've always been very supportive of all this, even when she met her girlfriend and proposed to her. I've encouraged her as much as I can. I'm contributing significantly to the wedding. I recently called and asked her when she wanted me to bring over the dress, as it would likely need slight alterations, and she dropped the bombshell on me that she wanted to wear a suit and have my wedding dress altered to remove the skirt portion so that the bodice could be worn with trousers. At first I agreed but dragged my feet bringing the dress over. After a few weeks I changed my mind and told her that the dress was important to me and I didn't want her to ruin it. When I promised her the dress, it was because I thought she would wear it as a dress and she will only get to wear it if it is a dress. I offered that her girlfriend could wear it as a dress instead, but my daughter said that would still be ruining it. Her girlfriend is a much larger woman than me, so it would need more altering, and has since not been answering my messages except with saying that the dress would be a connection to her dad, so she is disappointed to not have it. I offered to go dress shopping with her for a replacement, but apparently some of our family think I'm stopping her having the dress because I disagree with her being masculine. Am I the asshole for telling her she can have it as a dress or not have it at all? I may be the asshole because I promised it to her, but that was when she was very young and before I knew she wanted to change it. I understand both perspectives. It's very difficult. Wedding dress was what tied these two together and really created a strong bond. I mean, when she promised her daughter this wedding dress, I don't think she ever imagined that her daughter would be wanting to change it eventually. I don't want to be like, it's not fair to change it, but at the same time, like, when you were promised this dress, you were 13, and the idea from your mother's perspective is to keep it the way that it was worn. But I also am like, it's this tie to her dad, and it's something that she has always held dear. I feel so conflicted about this. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, maybe they can find like a similar type of dress that they can cut up instead, or like a bodice that they can use instead. Reading some comment. Not the asshole, you offered to lend or let her use your dress, not tear it apart in a way that destroys it forever. This dress is yours with living, breathing memories attached to it. It cannot be returned to you in its original state. Then no, you are not the asshole for changing your mind. She have other possessions that actually belong to her dad, and she may be able to incorporate one of them or recreate your bouquet, cake, or something similar if that connection is what she is seeking. That's not a bad idea. If you have any of your husband's clothes, oh, that would be really cute. Yeah. I didn't even think about that, because that way there's still some sort of connection to her dad without ruining the original dress. All right, next story. My mother-in-law shaved my toddler's head without telling me. I, 27 female, have one daughter, one female. Let's call her Eloise. I also very recently lost my husband in early January due to blood cancer. Ever since Eloise was a baby, she had really gorgeous hair. It's always been a gorgeous color and has grown so beautiful. In my mother-in-law's family, it is a tradition to shave their hair when they turn 1. Ever since Eloise was 9 months old, she's been pushing this. She's been telling us how we have to shave her hair when she turns 1 year old. Eloise turned 1 on the 22nd of February. We didn't throw a huge party of any kind as I am still grieving my husband and didn't have time to think of anything. My mother-in-law is not a helpful person. She rarely does anything helpful. I don't ask anything of her. Eloise is my child, not hers. While she messaged me asking if she could take Eloise out for a birthday McDonald's. I was more surprised than anything, but I said sure. It was booked, and about a week later she took her out. She came back about an hour and a half later with a McDonald's and a bald Eloise. I looked at her and I asked my mother-in-law to leave. She gave me the bag of her hair, then left. I cried. I kept crying at her bald head. Her hair was always something I was really proud of, and it was all gone. It was all sat in a plastic Ziploc bag. I haven't seen my mother-in-law since. We've started using rosemary oil on her hair and it started to grow back. However, it's growing back after and it's making me so sad. Anyone know how to deal with a situation like this? No. No, I don't. Cut off your mother-in-law. To me, that's so unacceptable. You are not this baby's mother. You cannot decide what to do with it. And the fact that she had to go about lying to the mother, or at the very least manipulating the situation, omitting the truth, in this case is still lying. Like saying that you were going to take her to McDonald's, like, okay, yeah, you took her to McDonald's and then you took her to get her head shaved. I do not understand why this is a tradition to begin with, but it doesn't matter because the mother of this baby did not want to go through with it. And it's also like the fact that she was surprised that this bitch wanted to fucking hang out with her granddaughter also says a lot, and that she's not helpful otherwise. So, reading some of the comments, as hard as it might be, please take a picture of your daughter's head and the bag of hair. In the event your mother-in-law should ever try for custodial visitation, you will have the evidence to present as to why that should never happen. I'm truly sorry for the loss of your husband. Take care. Thank you. I have it all on security cameras, including me telling her not to touch my daughter's hair. I'll take pictures since it's winter right now anyway. She's been wearing hats last month. It hurts as her hair was once the color of my husband's. It's growing back the same color as mine. Ooh, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. There's really no words that I can say to express just how angry this makes me feel. Next story. Am I the asshole for mocking my brother-in-law's absent parenting? So my sister, 32 female, and her husband, Parker, 35 male, have 2 adorable kids, Serenity, 8 female, and Destiny, 5 female. Parker, however, doesn't exactly win Father of the Year awards. He works late most nights, spends weekends glued to his phone, and leaves the parenting heavy lifting to my sister. Now, I love my sister dearly, but watching her struggle while Parker plays absentee dad rubs me raw. Last night, it boiled over. We were at a family dinner, and Serenity, bless her heart, confided in me how she wished Parker would play catch with her like other dads. Parker was literally right there, scrolling through Twitter as if she didn't exist. I snapped. Not my finest moment, I admit, but I blurted out, maybe if your dad wasn't so busy being a thumb champion, he could find the time to throw a ball. Parker looked up, face like thunder. My sister shot me a pleading look, and the rest of the dinner was tense as a drum. Now everyone's calling me the asshole for publicly humiliating Parker and embarrassing my sister. They say I should have pulled him aside privately, not make a scene, but honestly, how many private talks does it take before a man steps up for his kids? So Reddit, am I the jerk for calling out Parker's abysmal parenting? Should I apologize? Let the judgment commence. P.S. Please be kind to my sister in the comments. She doesn't deserve any of this drama. I find it so funny that everyone around this situation is like, well, you could have handled that better instead of embarrassing him. No, bitch. He's being a bad father. He deserves to be embarrassed. He deserves to be called out for that shit. I mean, what's the point of being a father then if you're not even going to spend time with your kids? Your kids only stay young for how long? There's going to come a time where they've grown up and they're not going to talk to you anymore because as a kid, quality time was not had because you preferred to look at your phone. I mean, you can't look back on your life and think of the memories of you spending time on your phone because what at the end of the day, like, what are you going to remember from that? Oh yeah, remember when I looked through Twitter and I saw the news? You should be looking back on your life and all of the time that you spent with your kids. People that, hey, you created. You helped create them. You're leaving all of the hard work, all of the parenting, all of the quality time being spent to your wife so you can go through your phone. Being a parent doesn't just mean providing for a kid. It also means like being there for a kid, right? Parenting is hard. It is. And if you aren't ready to do it or aren't willing to do it, then you shouldn't do it. These kids don't have a dad. He might be there physically, but he is not there mentally. And something needs to be done, and somebody needed to say something, and it shouldn't matter how it was said or when it was said or how loud it was said or who all heard it, because it needed to be said. And I don't even know if this dude would have understood it if it was a private talk. There shouldn't be any private talks being made to begin with in order to make you parent your kids. Reading some of the comments, but honestly, how many private talks does it take before a man steps up for his kids? He's got an 8 and a 5-year-old. This isn't a new dad who needs a reality check. This is a guy with a life going according to his plan, and wow, how dare you embarrass him. This is only going to have him pushing your sister away from you. You're not the asshole, and unfortunately, these men just love situations where you're set up to fail, but tact and strategy is important to be able to stay in your sister's life. It might be worth apologizing to your sister for bringing it up in front of the kids. Don't blanket apologize to him, though. I completely agree. Not the asshole. Parker doesn't mind ignoring his kids publicly, so why shouldn't he be called out for it publicly? However, instantly his face looked like thunder, and your sister looked to you pleading. She's been abused at home, so she let this continue to try and keep the peace. Sounds like he has a quick temper. I was wondering, too, when they said the way that he looked at them was aggressive, and the sister being pleading, I'm like, that feels abusive, like she's just trying to keep the peace, and I really, really hope that's not the case. Next story. My parents made me read my entire diary to them at 11. When I was younger, I loved keeping a journal and I was always writing, but since I didn't tell my parents much about myself or my life at the time, they came into my room and forced me to bring my diary. I hid it in my closet. Next, they made me read each page out loud while I was sobbing, and I just remember them laughing, joking, saying it was cute. Well, now I'm 24 and noticing I have severe trust issues and trust pretty much no one. I even tried therapy for 6 months, but did not end up opening personally. I find it pretty much impossible to open up or form close relationships with people, and have a feeling this might have something to do with it. So parents, anyone else who's experienced the same, thoughts? As a parent, do you think your child's diary should be private, or is this normal? Just genuinely wondering, since I feel like I would never do this to anyone, much less my child. That just breaks my heart. Privacy is a huge thing even for kids. Kids deserve to be treated like humans, and they deserve to have privacy. If your kid is not telling you something for whatever reason, they're not comfortable telling you it. So forcing it out of them is not gonna gain trust between the two of you. It's actually going to erode it, and that's exactly what happened here. Some comments. Journals are private. What your parents did was cruel and inappropriate and abusive. OP, this was not normal. Your parents are failures. Yeah. Mine read my diary in front of me. I stopped having diaries ever since. Yes, I've never been able to journal since. I'm sorry that you relate to this. I'm like actually gonna cry thinking about it. That is really sad that this person stopped doing something that they enjoyed because their parents made it into something that they were like traumatized by. All right, next story. I found out my daughter is sleeping with my friend who she's known since she was 7. I, 43 female, have a daughter, 22 female, who I'll call Liv. My good friend, who I'll call Adam, 42 male, has known my daughter since she was 7 years old. He would even babysit her for me and my husband, Steven, 46 male. My husband is as disgusted and outraged just as much as I am. I found out 3 weeks ago when my daughter hosted a party to celebrate her birthday. She said she wanted to do one day with her friends and then the next day with her family. She even took it upon herself to invite Adam, which confused me because I didn't give her his contact info. I noticed they were awfully close with each other, and it even made me uncomfortable. The final straw was when I saw him caress the back of her shoulder, and then I confronted her in private about this. She said that her and Adam have been seeing each other for about 6 months now. I was extremely angry and reminded her that she's known this man since she was a child. Then she further went on to say that she was an adult and could make her own decisions. I stormed out and cussed out Adam for even thinking this was alright. He fired back saying that she was capable of deciding what she wants. My husband got into the argument, almost causing a fight to break out. My husband and I left feeling ashamed of what had happened. It's now been 3 weeks and my daughter is still refusing to speak to me. I will not forgive Adam because I feel as if I don't truly know how long they've been messing around. For all I know, she may have lied about the 6 months and they could have had this going on since she was underage. The thought of it makes my stomach turn because if it's true, why didn't I notice? Everything was fine before I found this out and my daughter was a very well-behaved child. I would have never imagined this. I feel as if I'm a bad mother because what if there were signs she and him were involved while she was still a teenager? I do not know what to do and how to move forward from this. Thinking that you're a bad parent because your daughter hid something from you. I'm pretty sure she knew that you would disapprove and that's why she didn't do it because this is utterly disgusting. I don't know how long he had been preying on her, but he definitely had been preying on her. I also find it funny, being about the same age that this girl is, to think that you're an adult enough to make your own decisions and have one of them be dating somebody that's like your father's age. The maturity difference between a 20-year-old and a 40-year-old is a lot. I just think acting as though you're able to make these sort of decisions just because you're over the age of 18. So what? There's not a difference mentally between 17 and 18, but there is legally. And just because somebody automatically turns 18 doesn't make it any better when a 40-year-old man starts dating them. That's creepy and gross. So for me, it's like, it doesn't matter if she's early 20s or whatever. You've known this dude since you were 7. This guy would babysit you. He's the same age as your parents. He's your parents' friend. Some comments. Even though this is a hideous situation, I've been that daughter. And what's really important is that she knows that you're not going to turn your back on her when it all falls apart. It will hit her eventually. And even if she doesn't feel like you support her, she needs to know that you're not going to say, I told you so, or make her feel like it's her fault. She needs to hear that you will always help her if she needs it for any reason. Don't make it specific to this, and that you'll never stop loving her. I know we aren't seeing eye to eye on what's happening right now, but no matter what you choose to do or what happens between us, I need you to know that I love you, and if at any time in your life you need someone, you can always call me day or night, and I'll be there for you, no questions asked. Edit. For those replying that it's daughter's fault and she deserves whatever consequences are coming to her as an adult, look at all of the replies from people who stayed in abusive relationships because they couldn't go to their parents for help. However OP may feel about this, and she's within her right to feel embarrassed or ashamed or whatever, this message is a matter of safety and well-being. You don't want your child to feel like they can't come to you when they need help. I completely agree, and that's what I mean. So I really do think that the best course of dealing with that situation is to just make sure that she knows that you're there for her, because even though you disagree with her decision, I don't think she really realizes the consequences of this type of decision. So I think it's important to let her know that you will be there for her. All right, next story. Am I the asshole for making my daughter shower in PE? Throwaway account for personal reasons. I, female 45, have a 14-year-old daughter who I'll call Michaela. Michaela has barely hit puberty and is less developed than the majority of her peers, which I believe is something she's self-conscious about. Last week, my husband and I received an email from Michaela's school saying that because it was approaching the summer, it would be now mandatory for all students to shower after PE. I understand the logic. Michaela does PE before lunch, and if she doesn't shower, she'll be sweaty for the rest of the day, which I don't believe is hygienic. The school requested that we pack a towel and any shower gel for the next PE lessons to ensure the students were ready. When I mentioned this to Michaela, she said she would refuse to shower. Since the showers are communal, she told me she did not want to be naked in front of everyone else and would just get dressed. I told her she couldn't do this as the school was enforcing it, plus I felt it was healthy for her to shower. Again, she asked me to email the school to say she wouldn't be participating, but I refused to do so. On Friday, despite many protests, I managed to make Michaela go to school with her towel, shower stuff packed. I felt as though I was doing the right thing. However, when Michaela got home, she'd been crying all day, saying how she had to get naked in front of everyone to shower, and she'd never been so embarrassed because she saw one or two of the girls laughing at her. I told her how sorry I was and that teenage girls are horrible and that she's beautiful, but for hygiene reasons, she still has to shower. I suggested bringing in a swimming costume to wear to shower in, but she said that would bring even more attention to her. She begged me to email school to not let her shower, but I said I had no good reason to, and I'm sure all the other girls feel the same. She told me she hated me and has barely spoken to me the rest of the weekend. My husband feels I should send an email as it doesn't hurt, and Michaela's clearly bothered, but I don't think it's that big of a deal and she'll eventually get over it, and it's important for hygiene reasons. Am I the asshole? Yes. You do not care about your daughter at all. You might not see it as a big deal, but you have been told repeatedly by your daughter that it is a big deal to her, that she is insecure about her body, and that she's been fucking bullied over that. You know how much of a toll that can take on somebody, and as somebody who's grown up with body issues myself, I could never fucking imagine showering with other girls my age. I was so insecure in myself. I still am insecure with my body, and to be forced in that situation for hygiene reasons, that is unacceptable. I don't think the school should mandate that you take showers to begin with. I understand the hygienic reasons, but I ultimately feel like if somebody is uncomfortable with being naked around their peers, especially in a vulnerable time like your teens, you should not allow that to be mandatory. The fact that you don't see it as a big deal means you are not looking through your daughter's eyes after she's been telling you time and time again how much it has been difficult for her. Her coming home crying from it and you're still not budging is insane to me. The fact that you think you are so in the right here, that you know better about the situation than your own daughter who's been through it would. I'm glad she's not talking to you, and guess what? She's gonna cut contact with you as soon as she gets the opportunity, because if this is how you're treating her over something so small as not wanting to take a shower in PE, I really cannot imagine how she must be feeling every other day of her life. That's a controlling parent, and that is somebody who is very non-empathetic. to their kid and their kid's well-being. Comments. Perhaps all the other girls do feel the same, but that doesn't help your underdeveloped 14-year-old daughter. You, 45, don't think it's a big deal. Your distressed daughter does. What's actually stopping you from supporting your child in a highly stressful time in her life? It's approaching the end of the school year. Meet your child where she's at, not where you want her to be, and email the school, or set up a meeting with the teachers involved, but support your child. You're the asshole. I completely agree. You're the asshole. The school is also the asshole. I will never understand how we treat our children with such a lack of basic respect and dignity. Imagine if every week you were forced to strip off and shower in a communal shower with no privacy in front of your colleagues, including god-awful Sheila from HR. Destigmatizing and normalizing non-sexual nudity is one thing, and it's fine to provide communal shower spaces for those who feel comfortable using them. But in my honest opinion, schools should be required to also offer private cubicles to those who feel more comfortable for that way for whatever reason. Imagine being a 14-year-old on your period, or having a stoma, or having scars, or being an SA victim, or carrying religious shame and trauma, or. In this particular situation, though, it is your job to listen to your child and do everything in your power to meet her emotional needs. So the way you're dismissing her absolutely makes you the asshole, and I completely agree as well. This is not anything about sexuality or being sexual in any way. It's about being at a vulnerable stage in your life, which is being a teen, which is having so many hormonal imbalances as you're developing, as you grow up, and it's a time where people can be really fucking nasty to each other. And to imagine that somebody who's a little bit behind in development is going to be treated because everybody can see them naked. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest when I say I have stretch marks, okay? I got them when I was 13. If I was to shower at 14 in front of everybody else, I would have been humiliated, because it's not like it's just on my stomach. It's on my arms, it's on my legs, it's on the back of my knees, it's on my boobs. Like, it's everywhere on me. And I would be so ashamed to shower in front of people and have people see me. And even if they aren't looking, I would feel judged, and it would scare the shit out of me. And I do feel like this is inhumane treatment of children, to be quite honest. And I do think that having a private cubicle, at the very least, is so incredibly necessary for somebody at this time in their life, because it is so detrimental to be bullied at this stage. It sticks with you for the rest of your life, and you carry that shame with you, even though you're far past it, even though you've changed so much. It doesn't matter, because it still carries with you, and it changes the way that you think and the way you feel and the way you make decisions. Trust me, I know. Next story. I made my brother think he has alopecia for the last 15 years. This is probably the pettiest thing I've ever done, and I regret it to this day. When I was 15 years old, I got my first job and started to have some money of my own. I used my money to spoil myself and purchase nicer things like clothes, shoes, makeup, and salon brand shampoo. My brother used to sneak into my bathroom and constantly steal my nice shampoo. He would use them, and most of the time he would leave them open in the bathtub. This would result in the rest of the shampoo going down the drain and leave me with empty containers. This drove me completely insane, and I hated him for taking my things. I tried to speak with my parents about this, but they told me I should just learn to share. One day I went out and purchased hair removal cream. I mixed this into my shampoo bottle and left it in my bathroom. I gave him a verbal warning not to use my newly purchased bottle, but he stole it again anyway. Over the next few days, his hair slowly started to fall out and small bald patches started to appear. Seeing what I had done, I immediately emptied the remaining shampoo. I felt terrible, and I truly didn't think it would have as dramatic effect as it did. My mother took him to the doctor to get it checked out, and they diagnosed him with alopecia. He then had to start using the special and terrible smelling shampoo to combat this. His hair did grow back, but I just recently found out that he is still using the shampoo in order to prevent another alopecia flare-up. It's been 15 years now, and I've never told my brother that I caused him to lose his hair. Oh my god, that is so funny. Are you kidding me? Dude, I'm sorry. This guy deserved it. You were stealing your sibling's shampoo, and you were wasting it. So I don't blame them for taking drastic measures to get him to stop. The fact that it went further than they anticipated, and their brother got diagnosed with alopecia and then had to use stinky shampoo to treat his hair, and he still uses it to this day because he thinks he has alopecia. I'm sorry, that is so funny, and it just goes to show that karma is a bitch, and you should have known better. Comments. Wait another 15 years until he's bald naturally, then tell him. If Reddit's still around, then update us as to his reaction. Alright, next story. Am I the asshole for accepting money from my parents for my wedding then eloping? My parents gave each of my brothers $50,000 when they graduated from university as a down payment on their home. When I graduated, they did not do the same for me. I asked about it and they said my husband should provide. I wasn't married, I still lived at home. 3 years later, I met my husband. We dated for a year and then we got engaged. My parents were overjoyed. When we set a date, they gave me a check for $50,000 to pay for the wedding. What the fuck? I took the check and we eloped. We then used the check for a down payment on a house. My husband has a similar amount saved up, so we were in a good spot with equity. My parents were furious that they didn't get a big wedding for all their friends and family to attend. They said they gave me the money for a wedding. My argument is that I got married and had leftover money, accurate in my books. My brothers are on their side, so I'm here to ask if I'm the wrong. Am I the asshole? You're not the asshole, and your brothers are on the same side as your parents because they didn't have leftover money. Like, you are in a really good spot financially, and your parents are so fucking misogynistic. It is insane. The fact that they gave your brothers $50,000, what the fuck, for a down payment on their house, but they couldn't even give that same to you because your husband is supposed to provide that. And if your husband didn't have any money, if you never got married, so unfair and unwilling to set up your child for success because you believe in traditional gender roles like that. You came into the same exact amount of money that your brothers did, and you used it for the same exact reason that they did. So why are your parents mad exactly? They gave you the money. It's your decision what you want to do with it. Comments. Not the asshole. Your family is being horrible and using a bullshit double standard. They didn't expect your brothers to use that money for a big wedding, but you have to. They wouldn't have helped you get a home unless it was through marriage, but your brothers didn't have that condition and just got the money. And they expected you to have a huge wedding so they could have fun. Saving up the money is a responsible thing to do, and they're being bad parents if they'd rather you spend it all on a huge wedding you don't even want. Just a question to be clear, there was a wedding and they were invited. They're angry because it wasn't big enough. There was a wedding. So they had a wedding. It just wasn't big enough because it wasn't $50,000 big. All right, next story. I'm also done with my makeup look, so I guess I'm just gonna keep going until I get through them all and just react. Am I the asshole for putting a lien on my brother's house and refusing to remove it until he pays me? I do house renovations as a business. Even when I do work for family and friends at a discount, I have a contract. My nephews are getting bigger and they want separate rooms. My brother asked me to help him finish his basement, make a couple of rooms down there, add a washroom, add a kitchenette, and wire up a family room. I priced it out and said I would charge him $32,000 including materials. This was a sizable discount. The bathroom alone, I would charge anyone else $15,000. His wasn't even roughed in. He never paid me. He always had excuses. I paid for the material and I paid my guys for the work. We did it when I had downtime so I didn't lose out on other money, but it still sucked to get shafted. So I put a construction lien on the house. He didn't care and I wasn't gonna make him homeless. That was 2 years ago. Now he got a new job and has to move. And to get a new house, he has to sell his current house, which he can't do because there's a lien against the property. He called me to get me to remove it. He promised he would pay me as soon as it sold. I told him, fuck you, pay me. My parents called me to tell me that they would pay what he owes. I said I would agree so long as he paid them back, and if he didn't, then any money he didn't pay back had to come out of any inheritance we were getting, God forbid. And that interest started accruing from the day of the loan. They agreed that that was fair. My brother called to scream at me for involving my parents in out inheritance. I reminded him that he involved them, not me. He finally took money out from a line of credit and paid me, with interest. I'm a reasonable man. The house sold over asking, and the finished basement suite made a huge difference on what he got. He's still pissed at me for doing it, but I did everything legal and by the books. Nope. This dude tried to get away with not paying somebody for work because it's his own brother. That shouldn't fucking make a difference. I'm really wondering if the brother asked him because he thought he could get it for free. You are taking time out of this person's day, resources that they could use. His men are working on it too. You're already getting a discount for it. Your house sold above asking price because of this work you got done for it. You did not care that the lien was put on your house, so you sure as shit should not care that you have to pay him back. And the fact that he brings his parents in and then gets so pissed that they agree to pay off the loan but will take out any inheritance from him if he doesn't pay it back. You are using people left and right and thinking you can just get away with it because you don't want to pay the money that you very easily could pay this person. You're lucky it's your brother and not somebody who could sue you for it. What are you blowing all of this money on that you had to take credit cards out for this, that you had to wait till your house sold? Then why did you commission this to begin with? Comments. Not the asshole. Who thinks you are besides him? His wife, her parents. My parents aren't happy. Well, that's too fucking bad for all of them, huh? Not the asshole, bro. Seems like he was trying to get it for free and never would have paid you unless you forced the issue. Fuck you, pay me sounds entirely reasonable approach here. I completely agree. Next story. Am I the asshole for not letting my sister and her kids live in my house? I, 25 female, am an electrician. I started my apprenticeship at 17 and was hired immediately by my sponsor after I received my license. The reason I chose a trade was that I grew up in a trailer with my mom and sister, and I wanted to own a house since I can remember, and being in the trades gave me access to a stable job and access to more money sooner. My partner, 29 female Thea, is a plumber, and we've scrounged and saved. In the end, we bought land and built a tiny house in the uptown area of our city. It has 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. One of the bedrooms is our reptile reptile room as I keep snakes and Thea keeps bearded dragons. We are child-free and happy in our home. My sister Lucy, 34 female, is a waitress and has 3 kids, male 4, male 3, male 2. Her husband just left her for a woman my age, and she is left without his income to raise all 3 kids on her own. Her husband bought out her half of the house during the divorce. That left her and the kids living with my mom in the trailer. I can admit I didn't grow up in the safest of areas and was carrying a knife when I was a teenager because of the danger. Because of the safety issue, Lucy came to Thea and I and begged us to let her and her sons move in. She said we would have to get rid of our reptiles or keep them in our room. Her sons could have the other bedroom and she would sleep in our kitchen on an air mattress. She said nothing about paying us rent or helping around the house. I told her no, because 2 toddlers and a little kid who is about to start kindergarten aren't suitable to be in our home, and we don't want too many people in our house. She said that we live in a better part of town with better schools and that she needed help. I told her we didn't have the room and that I was sorry, but I could hook her up with some journeymen I know and she could get started on an apprenticeship that pays better than her current job if she needed extra money. She called my job and Thea's job dirty blue-collar trash and left our home. She posted about how we wouldn't let her stay online, and now my relatives are messaging me about how could I let a single mother and 3 kids be homeless, how they're your blood and you owe your sister better than that. I feel like a complete asshole even though Thea told me I have every right not to want them in our house. Am I the asshole? So many opinions here. The fact that the sister feels so entitled to just live with her because it's a safer area and her kids would have access to better schools or whatever, and she's not even thinking about the responsibility that she's putting on her sister. Like, she's not offering to pay rent. She's talking about, changing their other room, which is for their reptiles, for their pets, into a second bedroom for her kids, and is more worried about her and her lifestyle and her kids over her sisters, who she's actively uprooting in order to provide for her and her kids, and she's not even thinking about how she can pay back her sister for what a nice deed she would be doing for her. And the fact that her response to her sister saying no is to call her names and to be so rude about it just tells me everything I need to know about her as a person. There is an update and I want to play it. After dinner with my ex-brother-in-law, edit. Thea and I went to dinner with my ex-brother-in-law tonight. He brought his laptop and showed us all of the documentation. 1. Lucy used her proceeds from the house to pay for her attorney, even though my ex-brother-in-law offered to pay time-stamped emails to prove it. 2. The woman living with him is his niece, not his affair partner, as Lucy claimed. She came to the meeting. They have pictures and phone records showing that she is my ex-brother-in-law's older sister's daughter. 3. Lucy cheated. All 3 boys aren't his, and DNA tests show that they all have different dads, so Lucy has been having multiple affairs. 4. The $300 he is sending each month is a goodwill payment for allowing him to be a dad for a few years. 5. Lucy isn't waitressing, she's working for Amway and another company called Sensi in direct sales. 6. Lucy won't do an apprenticeship because it doesn't fall under traditional gender roles, posts on a second social media account. 7. Lucy has made homophobic posts on social media about me and my wife and blocked us so we didn't see them. In the end, I don't know what to think. Okay, well that just seals the deal, huh? Her sister's a terrible person. Not only is she homophobic against her own sister and was gonna mooch off of her with her own kids, but her kids aren't even her ex-husband's. None of them. This guy seems like a good guy. Like, he has documentation and receipts to prove that, like, he was helping her out and that he didn't cheat and that she cheated. The fact that she was going behind her sister's back and being homophobic and knowingly blocking her from being able to read that stuff, two-faced to a T. Comments. If your sister's ex bought her out of the house, what did she do with the money? She should have gotten an apartment. I have no clue what she did with it. I didn't ask because money talk is a sore spot for both of us. Well, I get that. You are able to use the money that you received from your ex-husband in order to start a life of your own. If you are unwilling to, clearly you have bigger priorities than a safe spot to live, because you could have easily found your own place to provide a great place for your kids, have them go to great schools, whatever, and you chose to spend it on who knows what. All right, we are finally at the last story, and I wanted to leave us at a good note. I have a daughter. Guys. My child is 22 and came out as trans. He isn't ready to identify as she yet, but I want to be there for her when she's ready. So I'm practicing calling her my daughter here. I know a lot of people have very strong opinions one way or another. That's okay. I don't care. I just want to be the best parent I can be. I'm gonna cry. I just think it's really beautiful when parents are so accepting and loving of their kids, no matter what they identify as or who they are. I think it's so cute that this person came to Reddit to just start practicing, calling their daughter and not their son anymore, and that they're excited over it and that they're just ready to be supportive. And I think it's so cute and so sweet, and it's such a short message, but it just, something like that that's so small just shows how much they care. Comments. I wish her the absolute best on this new journey in her life. She's lucky to have a father like you. I can hear the pride in that first sentence. That's a great dad there. Congrats on having a daughter. Beautiful. Protect your child against the storms. And I love that everybody responded was so sweet and gentle and kind and just wished the best for everyone and said how good of a father this is. All right, this is the end of the video and the end of the stories that I have prepared for you today. Also, my finished look. It's been finished for a little bit now, but honestly, I had more stories to read, so I was like, might as well just keep going and show off my pretty little face while I'm at it. This is my look. What do you guys think? I think it turned out pretty good. And as for the stories, what do you think? I think there were a lot more spicy nuggets in there than I was even anticipating. Some of them are crazy. The woman that cheated on her husband with all 3 kids having different parents. Wild update. Oh my god. But anyway, I hope you liked all the stories, and if you liked this video, make sure to click the like button so that way I know to make more. And if you want to watch anything else that I put out on the internet, make sure you click the subscribe button. I try to post as often as I can. All right, that's everything from me. See you next time. Bye bye. I just saw my face. I knew I was doing a weird face.